Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to the episode 6, the day 6 of Locust Performance Testing series. So, in our previous episodes, we installed Locust. We ran a simple Hello World test, the one that you see here, and we dived deep into Locust's architecture. And now it's time to level up. And today, on day 6, what are we going to see today? So we're going to write real production grade load test and we'll explore HTTP request in detail, the get, post, put, delete, and we'll understand the user classes and how to organize your test code. And we'll build complete realistic load tests that you can actually use in your projects. And by the end of this episode, you'll know how to test RESTful APIs, handle authentication, validate responses, and structure your test like a pro. And this is where the theory meets practice. So let's get started. And as I told you, what are we building tomorrow? What are we building today? So before we start coding, let me show you what we are going to build. And we're going to create a load test for a fictional e-commerce application. And our test will simulate users who first browse the product catalog, making GET requests to view the products. Second, they are going to search for specific items where they're going to send search queries. And third, they're going to add items to their shopping cart, making post requests. And fourth, they're going to update the cart quantities using put requests. And finally, they're going to remove the items from the cart using delete requests. So now you must have already seen. So we have used get, post, put, delete request. So the mirrors, this actually mirrors the real user behavior and covers all the major HTTP methods you will encounter in API testing. And we'll use a test API called JSON placeholder for our demo, and it's a free, again, it's a fake REST API perfect, which is perfect for learning and testing. But the techniques you will learn apply to any HTTP based application. And let's start building. So in Locust, we all know everything starts with the user class, and let me explain what a user class really is. And for now, let me disable this ignore. So it's not going to be, or I can change it as like locust.ignore. So it's going to be no more useful for now. And I'm going to create another locust file.py. So user class, right? So the user class represents a single user behavior. So when you tell Locust to simulate 100 users, it creates 100 instances of your user class, something like the thread group. Yes. So each instance runs independently and they execute the tasks you define. So let's create a new file called locust.py. And the reason I'm ignoring this is when I'm updating this in GitHub, you can very well copy this. You can very well use this. So now I'll create another file, locust file.py, and we're going to create the user class. So I'm going to write from locust importing HTTP user. I told you what the HTTP user is all about, and then the task, the workload modeling, and then between. And then I'm going to write the class, the website user, HTTP user, yes, colon, and then I'm going to add the wait time. So wait time is like think time in any other tools. So here we call it as wait time. Yep. So now I have built the user class, and let me break down what's happening here. I'll just go real quick. So we import HTTP user. This is the base class for users that make HTTP request, and there is also a generic user class for non-HTTP protocols, but we'll focus on HTTP today. And we are importing task. This decorator marks the method as tasks that the users will perform, and then we import between. This helps us define the realistic wait time between requests. So our website user class inherits from HTTP user, and this gives our class all the HTTP functionality we need. Things like self.client, which we'll use to make requests. Again, the wait time, we all know between 1 to 3 tells Locust after completing a task, wait between 1 and 3 seconds before starting the next one. And this simulates the realistic user behavior. The real users don't hammer your server continuously. And now here's the important concept. So each instance of this class has its own client. So if you have 100 users, you have 100 separate HTTP clients, each maintaining its own session and cookies. And this is crucial for realistic testing. Okay, so as I told you, let's start adding our first task, a simple GET request. So after the wait time, I'm coming outside of it and adding the task. Under the task, I'm going to define view underscore posts of self and self dot client dot get. Yes, the get has come here. So there's going to be a get request. I'm going to get the post. That's it. So the task here, I already explained you, but still I'll explain you again. The task marks this method as something our users will do. So when Locust starts a user, it randomly selects from all the available tasks and executes them. And then we have got these self.client get of posts makes a HTTP get request to the posts endpoint. Notice we only specify the path, not the full URL. Here we have not defined the full URL. So the base URL, the host is specified when we run the locust with the host parameter. And let's make this more interesting. So what if we want to view a specific post? So I'm going to make it more interesting, as I told you. So I'm going to add another task now. A task define view single post of self post underscore id equals 1 self dot client dot get. Yes, f double quotes. I'm going to add the posts slash post underscore id. Yep. So what did I do here is this request a specific post, but in a real test we would want to request different posts, not always the first post, right? So let's add some randomness to it. So what I'll do is I'll add a randomness. So let me create a new task and let's see how does it work. Task define view underscore view underscore random underscore post of self. This might be looking too much of coding, but we have no choice. We have to practice it. So post ID equals random dot random integer of 1 to 100. This is something like the wait time, right? So any numbers between 1 to 10 can be taken in the random integer, and then self dot client where we're going to give the request type, right? And the same thing, f double quotes forward slash posts slash post underscore id. Yep. So now each user will request a random post between 1 and 100. So this is much more realistic, and you can also add query parameters to it. And let me quickly add one more to it to make it more interesting. So task. So all these are GET requests, right? So we're going to see more of GET requests in different ways, right? So search of posts of self user underscore id equals random dot rand int of 1 comma 10, and then self dot client. By this time you must know self dot client dot get. Yes, then f double quotes forward slash posts question mark user id equals open brackets user underscore id. Yep. So let me quickly go through the code. So this searches by, for posts by a specific user. So the query parameter will be added to the URL, right? So before I execute, I'll have to add one import. So that is going to be import random. And the reason I'm using this is since we have used the random integer, I'm bringing this here, otherwise I will use to get errors and we might not be able to achieve what we wanted to execute. And apart from that, I'll have to add few more statements to make sure that our test is running fine. So I'm going to do a print of f double quotes response dot status code. Sorry, is that? Yep. Okay, for now, I think let's concentrate on the get post. Okay, so I've added the input method for the random, and then we have got four different requests. So one is the get posts, and then get post by post ID, and then get post by post ID, but it will be in a random fashion. And then we have got the user ID as well. So these are the four requests that we're going to execute today. So let's go back to the terminal, and I believe you can see the terminal now. Let me quickly clear it, and then make sure that we are on the right folder. Yep, so we have got the locust file.py, and what I'll do is I'll add the command. I'll run the command. So the command goes like this. We all know that, right? So locust minus f locust file.py and minus host equals https json placeholder.ipcode.com. So that's going to be the command. And yep, we have got the command here, and I'm clicking on the locust one. And now let me bring uh, the file. Yep, so here with 10 users, and the ramp up is going to be like 2, and then start. So now the test has been started, and yes, see, we've got the user ID details. So we've got, yep, so the post of 1, the very first request, and the random ID thing. So since we have got made it as random, we are going to get different number of requests, right? Because we made it random, so every request is going to be different request, right? So that is the power of using the random. And now we are actually emulating more load to the system through the locust request. And this is going to be the real game changer for the world of performance testing. And for now, yes, you must have understood how the get request works. And yep, all users spawned, total 10 users. And yep, the 10 users are running fine. There are no failures. Rate per second is 5. Charts, yep, see, the rates per second is like spiking high. The response times are here, the 50th and 95th percentile. And there are no failures. And that's fine. Okay, let me stop the test. And if you want, we can download the data, but I can just go here to my Visual Studio Code. And yep, let me quickly do a Control C, and yep, here I can see the response times and everything, all the metrics that I need to find for this. Okay, so let me do a quick recap before I complete this. So what we did is we have imported the HTTP user, the task between, and then I have imported the random to use for the random integer here. And I have defined a user class, the website user, and I have inherited the HTTP user here, and then I added a wait time between each and every request. And then I've got a task, the very first task, where I'm going to see the posts and then the first post ID. I have used the post ID here. I have used this variable in the post ID part here. And then I've got the random integer, the random post number, and then I've got the random user ID. So everything, all of these are self.client.get request. So if you are gonna do a get test, a request with completely get request, so this is how you have to build your get request. It can be any request inside, but it's going to be self.client.get. Just remember that it might be your interview question as well. So self.client.get is going to be your get request. So with that, I come to the end of this video. In the next video, we'll see how to do the post request. So thank you so much for watching this video. Until I see you all in the next video, it's bye bye from us and your favorite Little Star YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.